Hey guys, it's Brandon. This is a Blitz game that I played a little while ago that I was commentating on and trying to record for a live game, but something messed up. The video didn't work afterwards, so I figured I would just go over it, commentate on it in a post game way. I was playing black, and my opponent was guest4453. His rating is 1664, so a pretty solid player. Um, You started out with d4, and I answered knight f6, c4, e6, hoping to get into either a Bogo or a Nimzo Indian. But he stopped that with a3. I'm not sure if this is good in theory. I don't know what the theory says on pawn to a3. I'll have to check that later on. But for the moment, it stops any bishop b5 ideas. So I decided to just go into a King's Indian type of setup. He plays this pawn to e3. I'm not sure why. He could have played pawn to e4. Not sure why you want to play pawn to e3 when you have pawn to e4 as an option. That blocks in his bishop a little bit. But anyway, castles. Just some development here. Fianchetto. What's going on here? So here comes a center strike with d5. The idea is if c takes d, knight takes d, maybe knight takes d, bishop d takes d. There's some light square weaknesses on this side of the board that maybe I can, on the queen side, that maybe I can exploit down the road with my light square bishop. And but he decides not to do so. He plays c5, so this gives me a chance to exchange a semi-center pawn, like a c pawn for a b pawn. I have no problem doing so. Now he's just attacking the bishop with that move, so I just decided to get my bishop traded. This light square bishop doesn't have too many prospects along this diagonal anyway, because until I break it open because of this pawn chain here. So he grabs the pawn and exchange bishops. Knight development. The idea of this knight development obviously is to get my pieces out. I'll have rook to coming to the semi-open file with tempo. Rook to b8 comes with tempo as long as the queen sits there, and blockades this pawn from going any further. So just attacking the pawn. He defends with the rook. Now I play knight knight to e4, hitting his undefended bishop and threatening a fork on the king and on the queen and the rook. So he would be down a piece in exchange if he were to just do something random like king h1. So he sees that and decides to go in for the exchange of dark square bishops, which is fine. And he makes a mistake here after rook ab8 hitting the queen. Knight takes. He has to take here with the pawn. Idea was that he would have to take this with the pawn, and he would have these terribly weak pawns here on the queen side. That would be just juicy targets for me to go after. But he, well, I guess it's not really a mistake for him to take with the rook. He's still guarding this pawn here, but it drops this pawn and allows my rook to the 7th. So rook takes b2. Rook on the 7th, always good. Queen a1, attacking the rook. Doubling up rooks on the 7th. It's always fun. Here, he's just trying to kick my rook off the 7th rank. I mean, I would probably try to do that myself if I were him. Those rooks are extremely powerful. That rook on the 7th is really powerful. I tried to dodge it, but he ended up just making me exchange anyway. So now this knight is going to come in to c5, or excuse me, to c4, which is a very nice square. Can't be kicked anywhere. It'll have a nice central position, and maybe I can set up some threats. He plays knight to e5. I think this was a mistake for him. This was definitely a long-term mistake for him because it allows a tactic, which is queen f6. Queen f6 pins that knight to the undefended queen. So I'm not threatening to take the knight, obviously, yet with the queen, because then the queen takes, but it's pinned for the moment. So he decides to protect the knight, but this allows me to get my knight into c4 anyway, because he can't, again, because of the pin, he can't take that knight. So now I'm threatening his pawn on e3, and that move would come with tempo, because it would be hitting the rook if you were to just leave it as is. And he plays queen a2. I'm not sure what the point of this move was. At the time, I guess he wanted to exchange rooks and get out of the pin. Was his idea here, but I'm happy to grab this pawn that's hanging and attack the rook at the same time. And this pawn here on e6, or excuse me, on f4 is also hanging. So I have no problem going into an endgame 3 pawns up. So exchanging pieces is fine with me here. And he plays queen b8 check. I mean, I find a lot of players, when they sort of don't know what to do, they just sort of play a check, like the old saying, Patzer sees a check, Patzer plays a check. I'm threatening mate here on f1, so I'm not sure. Maybe I guess he just didn't see it, because he starts going pawn hunting, and so it turns out not so good for him. But anyway, I have an escape score here, and he grabs this pawn. I think this move is a mistake for him in any case, even if I didn't have this mate here on f1. I have, like, say, if the king had an escape square over here on h2 or something, I would still have knight to c4, and this knight is once again pinned to the queen, which is undefended, and I'm opposite on my queen on this diagonal. But in any case, I have this mate here, queen f1 mate. So so that was a game I tried. This was sort of a recap of a game I tried to comment on live, but I don't know what happened. So anyway, this was that game, and hope you guys enjoyed, and see you next time.